This year's grand award winner is Kane Green Lane Building in Union, New Jersey. This 102,000 mixed-use academic building was open to students for classes on January 21st. The undulating glass, concrete, stone, and brick building will serve as a gateway icon, marking the west entrance to Kane's campus.
We, as the structural engineers, first looked at as a steel building, as a concrete building, and this very quickly determined that concrete was the right material for this project.
I'd like to congratulate both Macedos and Gruskin for winning the Grand Award for the Concrete Awards for the Green Lane Building at Kane University. When we started the job, I was a little concerned when I started reviewing the drawings on what concrete contractor we would have do this project due to the complexity with the angled columns, cantilevered beams, and radiuses. I was very happy to hear when my boss told me that we would be using Macedos. There's a lot of good concrete contractors in the tri-state area. I'm sure most of them are here tonight at this awards dinner. But there are a few that would be able to complete a project of this complexity in the amount of time that was required. Gruskin had a very unique design that I was concerned would be difficult to bring from paper to actual concrete. And when I heard that it was Macedos doing the project, I was relieved.
It was a very unique, challenging project in the sense that Dr. Ferrari set the bar pretty high. He wanted a building that would capture the university and his vision for creating a world-class education, and he feels that the buildings have to embody that promise to visually communicate it to the students and the parents and anybody who comes to the building. So we had to come up with a concept that would not only do that, acknowledge the entry and gateway aspects to this building because it's one of the main entrances and corners to the campus, as well as communicate some of the unique nature of the programmatic uses within the building.
The building's bold architectural statement was only feasible using concrete for its structure. It took 6,800 yards of concrete to bring the promise of Kane's world-class education to life, to create a unique facility that will capture the imagination of students, parents, and teachers alike, to communicate that this is a place for individuals who aspire to personal and professional success and desire academic excellence. We see the dramatic contrast of the floating floor plates versus the solid towers. The cantilevers are 10 to 15 feet from their supports. Here is another element. This is communicated by one of the building's most distinctive and modern design elements, its undulating glass building facade that is made possible by the thin, exposed concrete slabs with their 10-inch thick edges, creating an open, high-tech, and unique architectural design. Long-span concrete allowed the design to have a no rectilinear floor plate that facilitated a flowing exterior, permitting shaped interior spaces and allowing the building to literally represent the higher education notion of, quote, thinking outside the box, end of quote. The flowing glass facade and concrete structure with cantilevers of 10 to 15 feet, where spaces literally break the box by denying the real-world rectangular geometry of the first floor with its linear brick walls and non-academic functions.
A lot of students and a lot of people in life, life spends every moment trying to stuff you into a square. And if you can't think outside the box in college, you're never going to get to do it outside of college. So one of the metaphors of this building has to do with that it literally breaks the box. If you look at the pictures of the first floor, it's a rectangle, and that's where the Barnes & Noble is and the cafe. That represents the reality in the real world, and it's on an orthogonal grid that follows the streets that were here originally. Once you get above to the second floor with the grand stair that sweeps up, you arrive at basically the university level. And at that level, everything starts to break. The building literally projects beyond the box, changes geometry, does all these things so no matter where you are, you're always breaking that kind of grid. You're always breaking that nature so that it metaphorically pushes you to realize, I need to think outside the box, I need to think different, I need to think in a plastic way, and kind of turn everything on its head. And this building kind of does that, and it means to do that. And again, concrete played a critical role in communicating that because the nature of concrete, making it very plastic and thin and light, gave us the ability to make very thin slabs, do these incredible cantilevers, 10 and 15 feet, to have open bays of 55 feet or so that we could create some unbelievable, almost unreal experiences in the building, both inside and outside. Because again, when you come to the university, you're learning to think differently, to think outside the box, to push the envelope. And we want the building to push the envelope, and you almost wonder, well, how does it do that? How is this possible? And because that's how your thinking should be when you're here. When you leave, you should be able to transcend everyday normal thinking.
So working with concrete was quite a challenge. The building has different floor plates that are each a different shape. So the unique characteristics of the shape required us to place different items in the slabs at different locations on every floor. There are a lot of items buried in the slab. Electrical conduits, electrical boxes, embeds for steel, embeds for curtain wall. All those items combined made it quite challenging when you design a building that the top of the slab looks different than the bottom of the slab. So what happened was the architect works from the top of the slab, giving their locations. But the formwork contractor has to work from the bottom of the slab, setting the forms. Everything that's buried in the slab has to be coordinated, and it's set at different placements. So that was the biggest challenge, I think, in this project, was getting the parts to land in the right place.
This had to be the most unique project we've had the pleasure of working on within recent years. The most interesting aspect of the project had to occur at the Morris Ave entrance. It's at this entrance where all the slabs would continuously cantilever further out from the building as you progress up through the floors, which were all supported by columns which were also poured on an angle. And that combined with the fact that the slab edges were also poured on angles, which all had to match through every floor, made for such a challenging project.
There were a lot of challenges on this project due to the complex design with the angled columns, the radiuses, the cantilever beams. So a lot of this stuff was not easy to take from the drawings and actually apply to the field. Fortunately, Macedos, when there was a problem, came to me with a concise and clear question that I would deliver to the architect and engineer. Usually within a day we would have an answer. Sometimes we'd have field meetings to resolve it. Bruskin and DeSimone did an excellent job in getting us the information that we needed in order to get the building built in the amount of time that we had.
Concrete's the natural material for this building. Between the large open spaces at the front of the rotunda, the naturally looking exposed structure in some of the classrooms, and also the good vibration characteristics that were required in some of the other classrooms. The concrete allowed for the nice, clear, sloping columns at the front that form the signature part of the building.
A 5-story sloping, conical, curved glass corner acknowledges the intersection of Morris Avenue and Green Lane as a main entrance to the West Campus. This architectural feature dramatically leans out toward the intersection and not only acknowledges the university entrance, but affords wide-open, column-free interior class spaces with sweeping glass vistas of New Jersey and New York City in the distance. This was only made feasible by using concrete that produced a column-free circular zone with a diameter of almost 55 feet. The interior of the building celebrates the concrete structure by painting it a unique color so that it is always visually apparent. The round concrete columns and exposed shallow beams are integrated into the spatial experience of the buildings, rooms, lounges, and teaching spaces. Many of the student lounges have exposed concrete columns, floor slabs, and beams as defining elements of the space. Here's a view from within a classroom with the sloped, leaning out corner.
There's additional details because, again, this building has a design floor on it as well, and the building has lessons in it for all the students who learn about design. First of all, we wanted to expose all the concrete, the systems, the pipes, the wires. We wanted to make sure that they knew what was above the ceiling so that there would be no doubt in their minds as designers what they have to work with. It isn't just these magical things, but they're designing these buildings and these spaces and objects, and they need to deal with the reality of structure, electrical, mechanical, and so forth. Matter of fact, we celebrate it. Wherever you see when you walk through the corridors, you're going to find exposed concrete columns and the exposed ceiling, because it's not something we wanted to hide. We wanted to celebrate it. The idea of this plastic form that could do these incredible things, again, like the structure of thinking of how you will learn to think, because again, in school, they don't really, at least in my opinion, it isn't about facts, it's about learning how to think. You can always find facts, but you can't learn how to think. And this concrete is sort of like that, but it's a structure that holds up the building that without it, the building couldn't exist. So if you learn how to think, it's like the structure of how you organize your ideas and everything that you can do.
In the end, the concrete building worked out to be, I think, the right solution for this project because of its unique overall shape. It made the project move quicker, and the building is very sound and quiet.
I frankly don't remember student lounges like these. This is the completed structure, a 6-story reinforced concrete structure with flat plate floors, circular columns, long spans, cantilevers, and a curved perimeter. This building is floating in space. The design team created a unique, beautiful design, and the concrete team executed the design beautifully. This is a wonderful building.